Reports of irradiated monsters in the streets coming up from the sewers, and we learn a valuable lesson on using black market firmware for our upgrades. I'm your host. You can call me the Lone Transmitter, and coming to you live from Yellowbrook City, you're listening to Wasteland Free Radio. Hello, my fellow Radlanders. Well, between earthquakes and eclipses, and local authorities asking for our human permits, whatever that is, it's been a pretty wild ride these past couple of weeks. I know some of you were a little worried after the earthquakes, and yes, a couple more abandoned buildings collapsed, but they've been abandoned for a while. Of course, now people are saying that they're seeing monsters climbing from out of the sewer grates, but I don't believe it, because I've been in and out of those tunnels dozens of times, and I've never seen or heard anything in there. My guess is that these creatures people keep seeing are just Maddie and the Radpunks playing pranks on the people of Yellowbrook City again. It's probably nothing to worry about, and even if it is, we've seen worse, right? Local authorities also haven't said anything about the alleged creatures in the sewers, and they usually blow the dangers of these things way out of proportion. They could just be a little late to the punch, as always, but like I said, I'm really not all that worried. Now, if you were talking about creatures escaping from Danny Six Fingers' old glove factory, that's a different story. There's definitely something alive in there. I've just never seen it. So, Weatherbot 95's last firmware update sort of corrupted his vocal processor a little bit. So it doesn't matter what he's trying to say, it always comes out as
stand by, error.
It's not the worst thing at the end of the world, it's just mildly annoying. The real problem is that it kind of causes a cascade failure once in a while, and I blame it on his new firmware update. I don't know where he got it from, probably some, back alley dealer somewhere.
Processing.
Oh, here comes an overload, hang on.
If you'd like to leave the table, please ensure the is well in your pants. Thank you for joining us today for Diapers United. Stand by.
Come on, 95, where are you going? There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just a glitch. It happens to everybody. Poor guy. He really is sensitive, and he has a lot to say. This is why I don't trust any of those black market firmware operations. I just don't. I get everything I need from Max the Millions, and I think he should too. Alright, here's an email from our old friend, AnimeFan29. He writes, "Hey, TLT. I don't know if that's gonna stick, but whatever. Are you really telling me there's zero chance the space egg is a kaiju chicken after a kaiju bunny hopped all over our little town?" No, AnimeFan29, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying your concerns are probably unwarranted because there's zero evidence. The space egg is clearly from the past, and scientists at Dynamo Science Labs are still working on it. Real science takes time. Calm down and go for a walk or something. I guess this is a good time to remind everybody to get their science projects turned in to Dr. Dynamo at Dynamo Science Labs. The annual science fair is coming up. Weatherbot 95 has a pretty cool project he's been working on. That's probably where he is right now. He hasn't just been wandering around the Radlands for nothing. He's been taking scans. See, a long time ago, Earth's magnetic field went all out of whack. That's one of the reasons normal compasses don't work out there. But Weatherbot 95 and a couple other folks are trying to figure it out because they think they can put it back together. It's ambitious, I know, especially for a robot without a stable operating platform like 95, but it's what he wants and it makes him happy. As a wise man once said, a man stagnates if he has no ambition. So he'll showcase his findings at the science fair. It's kind of a homecoming for him too, because he was built at Dynamo Science Labs. It's sort of beautiful, but I'm not sure Weatherbot 95 is even aware of the significance. But I'm sure if they had a homecoming dance at Dynamo Science Labs, everybody would be lining up to dance with Weatherbot 95. Anyway, I have no doubt that his project is going to be the best exhibit at the science fair. Except for the space egg. Of course, nobody can compete with the space egg. Oh, this looks like a voice memo from Max the Millions. You remember Max? She lives way out in the Radlands and runs that scavenging and supply business. She's the best at what she does, and she is incredibly thoughtful at the same time. As a matter of fact, she usually finds the parts I need for transmission relays, so if you can hear this show, you probably have Max to thank for it. We usually have loose plans to meet up at the Little League Park every couple of weeks. She really likes to hang out with the dogs too, so it's kind of odd that she would send me a message out of the blue. I wonder what this is about.
Hey, man. Got a couple boxes here with your name on them. You got... Sorry, hang on a sec. Just put that over there. Yeah, that's right, just behind the depleted uranium. Copper wire, coffee, and a 6-pack of special edition green iridescent liquid from the Human Arcade. There's another smaller box here. It's, are these... seeds? Are you trying hydroponics again? Hang on. Okay, I found it. I've got a roll of permatape. It might just be what you need to seal up that one vent. I've got a few extra cans of fruit with your name on them here, and none of that expired stuff. Botulism is no joke. These are canned right here and from my own hydroponic farm. Why did I call you, though? It wasn't the nuke ball rackets, it wasn't the bright pink paint. That was for Grand Reverend Supreme. No, that was an experience. That man really likes his ice cream socials. Wonder if he'll ever get a new thing. It's been a little wild out here. This new road warrior showed up yesterday and bought a bunch of equipment. She came in asking about guns and ammo, and, you know, I don't deal in that. But she settled with a few trucks and a box of dynamite. It might have been that Roxanne person you've been talking about. Don't worry, she wasn't all that rough. She even paid for everything. Actually came in with some pretty good salvage, too. Would you believe I have an authentic Super Game Bot now? The ultimate gaming machine! I got a couple of games, but I wish I had a copy of Super Smack Sisters. Maybe that would convince 95 to spend more time with me. I'm sorry, that was weird. Well, I've got something else for you here. I can't remember what it is. I'm sure it'll come back to me before I head to the drop point. Later. Oh, tell Weatherbot 95 I say hi, or whatever. Bye. I mean, hi to Weatherbot, bye to you, whichever. I don't care. Bye.
Well, it's always good to hear from Max. She runs a really big operation and she's extremely busy. It really means a lot that she'll take time out of her day to find extra stuff for me. And if Rough Roxanne is one of her new customers, then Max is going to be doing pretty well in the future. That road warrior certainly has connections. And speaking of Rough Roxanne, I hiked out to Apocalypse Now, Juice Bar and Human Arcade, drink the hot iridescent liquid, where we were supposed to be meeting, and one of her frickin' security guys started putting their hands, all 4 of his hands, all over me. I thought this was a little strange considering she invited me to meet her there, but she's welcome to take whatever security measures she wants as long as she's not upsetting the people at Apocalypse WoW. He was probably just frisking me for a gun that he's not going to find, because I don't carry guns. But then he grabbed my field recorder. He said I'd get it back after Rough Roxanne was done with me, whatever that means. So I get inside, and she's sitting at the bar in my spot with her entourage of mutant moms, drinking a glass of reserve iridescent liquid. I can't even afford to look at that stuff. I figure she's trying to make me feel uneasy or intimidated. Don't forget, she figured out how to get past my traps without setting off a single alarm. She's good. I'm already wary of her. So I tried to turn the tables on her, and I gave her a little taste of her own expired black market medicine. I asked the bar bot for my usual, and he agreed. So, like we do every weekend, I pried open the casing to my implant, and the bar bot plugged in a cable to the side of my head. And it can be unsettling for people who haven't seen it before. There's usually an inorganic plasma discharge whenever we do this. We do this like every weekend. Don't get me wrong, I like a glass of hot iridescent liquid as much as the next guy, but I really go there just for the juice. Rough Roxanne barely even noticed the gooey mess left on the counter, so that was a waste of 5 bits. Anyway, I was feeling pretty defensive already, and I was embarrassed at the gooey mess left on the bar. But Rough Roxanne started by apologizing for getting off on the wrong foot. She also apologized for her overly handsy henchmen and told me that she's instructed them to ask for consent before frisking any visitors. She then told me that if I had resisted, they'd have frisked me anyway, and I'd be treated like a hostile force, so I don't think she left me with much of a choice anyway. So I asked her why she summoned me, because she could have just taped her apology to Weatherbot 95's back, like a well-intentioned post-apocalyptic kick me sign like she did the last time. Weatherbot 95 had to walk through the entire city with that on his back. If his platform allowed for such complex emotions, he'd have been so embarrassed. Rough Roxanne was, unsurprisingly, pretty upfront with me. She told me she just wanted to size me up. And then she asked me about my relationship with the local authorities. Like I even have one. I mean, I read their emails live on the show because of how ridiculous they can be. And yes, I happen to agree with local authorities on the importance of decontamination, but that is where our relationship ends. I also don't let them listen to the show. So she finished her very expensive drink, and then immediately ordered another. So I guess the mutant moms are pretty well funded. She then told me that the Radlands were about to get a little more exciting, and I didn't like the sound of that. Yellowbrook City is a pretty quiet town, and I like it that way. She told me she wanted to have a real base of operations for when things get dicey, and I guess Yellowbrook's old high school gymnasium was the perfect place. It's on the edge of town, just about 100 meters from the safety of the protective dome. Sorry, that's about the length of one nuke ball field. I think it's a great location. It's built out of concrete and rebar, and it has a metal roof, and they've already got a hydroponic system in one of the locker rooms. The wild fungus growing in the other locker room might not turn out to be edible, but it is proof of concept. She can probably grow some shiitakes or portobellos inside. I'm not a big fan, but this is the Radlands, and we have to take what we can get. So she wants to open up trade with Yellowbrook City as soon as they're ready to move forward, and I think it's a great idea. But she never told me what she meant by the Radlands getting more exciting. I'm assuming she means the war. I don't even know who's fighting in the war out west, but I really hope it stays that way. I don't want her to bring the war with her. Anyway, she gave me an open invite to visit her compound at my leisure, and then she extended the invitation to, you guessed it, Weatherbot 95. I'm starting to think everyone is just using me to get to him, and I get it. He really is quite the little inorganic heartthrob. A cool metallic exterior with a heart of gold and titanium. Well, that's what his superstructure is made of. He doesn't really have a heart. You understand. He is a person, but he is a robot. My dad and I have this argument from time to time, and I want to understand him, but he doesn't think robots are, quote, people, you know, like you and me, unquote. This sort of makes me uncomfortable since Weatherbot 95 is my best friend. Please understand, my dad is a good person. He doesn't deny any universal rights to robots or anything like that. And he treats Weatherbot 95 like he's my brother. But it's so hard for me to connect with him when he doesn't think my best friend is a real person. But the more I think about it, maybe my dad's judgment is just a little clouded. After all, he married a con artist. Oh yeah, that's right. My stepmom is actually an accomplished career criminal named the Duchess. She married my dad and took him for all he was worth. And honestly, it's really not all that much. He just has the one locust farm. But at least the Duchess thinks robots are people too. Unless that was also part of the act. I'm actually not sure when Weatherbot 95 will be back. He'll still send us a forecast from time to time, and I have asked him to check in once in a while anyway, especially considering all of that vague excitement Rough Roxanne warned me about. He is an old robot, and he's just so tiny. I do worry about him sometimes. I think most of you get it. Max the Millions called us mechanical life partners as a joke. I thought it was funny. 95 didn't get it, but he stored it in his comedy folder anyway. We're hoping to find a firmware update that allows for more complex emotional processing, but we just haven't found one yet. You all remember a few months ago when local authorities traded away one of our best nukeball players for the legendary and rusty Rollerbot 3? I was pretty excited about it because she's been playing the game as long as I can remember, and she's one of the best offensive players out there. Well, her first game was last week, and I don't think our old rivals over in New Spring City will be much competition in the future, because true to form, Rollerbot 3 absolutely obliterated them. And I mean it. Normally this would be a call for a celebration, and I'd be bragging about it from now until the end of the world. But there is one small problem. She didn't just beat New Spring City. She, vaporized the entire team. Yes, it's part of the risk if you set foot on the battlefield, but I'm not sure the next match is even going to be happening. They might have to rebuild their ranks again. But the good news is that we're officially in the lead. But the bad news is our newest and best player might have just unalived 5 actual people. Local authorities have yet to issue a statement, but at least we're in the lead, I guess. You know, a while ago the Courier mentioned they weren't really into nukeball, and I'm starting to understand why. One day you're just throwing around a chunk of leftover plutonium with your rivals, and later on, those rivals turn into nothing but ash in the atmosphere. It's a rough life. But hey, at least it's good for the local economy, right? Are you bummed that you're still here after the solar eclipse? Did you expect to vanish from this plane of existence during some bizarre mass ascension to the next phase of life? Are you having trouble coping with the idea of being left behind? This episode is sponsored by the FPRC, the Failed Prophecy Recovery Center. Since the beginning of civilization, apocalypses everywhere have been obsessed with the end of it. Philosophers and religious leaders have guessed at how and when it would all happen. It could have been a cascade of computer failures, earthquakes or asteroids, or global wars fought with neo-nuclear weapons. But here at the FPRC, we give free counseling to anyone who regrets living their life in fear of the end of the world. We live to equip our members with everything they need to live full and exciting lives, even here in the Radlands. So if you've trusted someone with your life, finances, family, and afterlife, and you've been burned by something other than the raging sun above us, stop in and say hi. The Failed Prophecy Recovery Center, left behind, whether we want to be or not. Alright, taking you out today is another one of those musicians who used to travel the world before it ended. That's right, you could be a road warrior without actually having to be a warrior. The world sure was a crazy place before the apocalypse. Am I right? Anyway, here's Loraishi with her song, Dysthemia. I'm the Lone Transmitter, and you've been listening to Wasteland Free Radio, your best source for local post-apocalyptic news for humans, mutants, cyborgs, robots, and artificial intelligence alike.
Pressure within pulls me into a restless abyss, an illusion of safety again, abandonné to l'espoir. My passion is held tell who is real, who is not. Break my bones to conform and adapt, suffocating this will that I lack as we intertwine. The entities dance to a rhythm, I'm caught in a trance. I am lost in their visions again. Could they be mine? Defiance, I will stay.
Wasteland Free Radio is written and produced by J.S. Pitcher. Our intro, outro, and background music is by 11D7, and if you like what you heard, you can find more from them at 11d7isalive.com and follow them on Instagram at 11d7isalive. There will be links in the show notes, of course. This episode's retro resequencer was Lorashi and their song Dysthemia. You can find her on Spotify and Instagram. I will put links in the show notes for her as well. We love supporting and showcasing independent musical artists, so please, if you have any submissions, send them to wastelandfreeradio@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to get your music up on the show. A huge thank you goes out to everybody who's leaving us ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. We really can't thank you enough. And if you need more premium post-apocalyptic content, I have great news. We just launched our Patreon. We'll be sharing bonus episodes, some blooper reels, some other behind-the-scenes content, interviews with our musicians and our guest stars. So if you like the show and you want to support us directly, head head on over to patreon.com/wastelandfreeradio. Thank you so much for all of your support, and remember, the Earth is going to get burned up in 6 billion years when the sun goes red giant. Might as well live your life while you can.